Hello and welcome to another episode of Ask a Grimm. This one's going to be a bit different, largely because I'm recording off OBS, and also because, like I said in the last video, I have a guest for this. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Susan MKPlasma 16 or Susan Sakura Snowfox, and I am Fenrir's significant other. Nice to meet you all.
So, yeah, we have a co-op edition of Ask a Grimm. Thank you all so much for asking your questions, really do appreciate it. And, yeah, let's get into this. CaptainSmartiyePants 8628 asks, to both, did you guys hear about Reddit and its API controversy? Did you guys play Lord of the Rings Gollum and GTA San Andreas Definitive Edition? If so, is it as bad as everyone said? And any thoughts on Spoctor Tech / Spoctor Theory? Ladies first.
Thank you. I'll just make it easy for you and just say no to all three of them, so yeah.
Alright, for me, I have heard about what Reddit was doing, and I think the controversy was a bit stupid in regards to them only putting a 48-hour limit on their strike. Like, I think they had a decent idea to strike in regards to the whole API pricing, but I think they had a terrible way of going about it. Like, they shouldn't have put a time limit on it. It's the equivalent of someone going on strike saying, oh, we're only going to strike for like 24 hours. It's not going to do anything. As for Gollum and Definitive Edition, haven't played either. I've heard horror stories, however. And as for Spoctor Tech, I know of Spoctor Tech, and fuck them, frankly. Good riddance to them, considering what they did. Shuiro Fantasma 64, sorry if I butchered that, asks, what are your thoughts on Amanda the Adventurer? They didn't specifically say to one person, so I guess it's to both.
I've seen a few people, a few streamers that I know in the Hollow Stars community play it, though I myself have not personally seen it, so I don't really have any comment on it.
Okay. As for me, I've never really heard of this, so this is like a new one to me, basically.
I think it's a horror game.
Oh, okay. Xans Priness asks, to David, have you watched the Yu Yu Hakusho anime? Yeah, I've seen a few episodes of it. It was a good time. To Susan, any thoughts on Team 4-Star, favorite anime girls, and do you think that Sailor Moon is overrated?
I never heard of Team 4-Star. As our best anime girls? It's kind of a hard one considering it's been a long while since I really watched anime. I'd say maybe I'm gonna go with Chisei from the Ancient Magnus Bride.
Okay.
And as for if Sailor Moon's overrated, I mean, it's an old anime and I can see why a lot of people, like, it's really popular, so as I never personally have seen Sailor Moon, so I can't say personally if it's overrated in my opinion. So, yeah.
What the fuck? To both, is yandere a really awful stereotype of a female character?
It depends on the story, really, and how they are written. Yeah, depends on the story and how said yandere trope is written into said character. Because there are probably some good examples, and there are probably some bad examples. I can't name them off the top of my head, but yeah.
Fair enough. For me, it's a case-by-case basis. I think there can be some humorous ones, like in JoJo. On the other hand, yandere sim exists. No thank you. But no, I don't think it's necessarily an awful stereotype. I just think that it's like a lot of things. It's a decent concept. It relies on execution, case by case, basically. Robotototodo 6170, again, sorry for the mispronunciation, asks, to David, what do you think of Twitch? I think they need to get their head out of their ass when it comes to certain ideas, but I think on its own, it's a fine platform. To Susan, favorite pet?
Dogs. Preferably Samoyeds. They're so fluffy.
To both, what do you guys think of Pokemon fusions?
As someone who grew up seeing mixed-breeded Pokemon through Total Pokemons, it can be very hit or miss depending on what Pokemon are quote-unquote fused together. I should know this because not only has my significant other done this before, but there have been many other past TPI makers who have done, well, at least one who has done Pokemon fusions before, and they can either be really good designed or really bad designed. It just depends, like I said, on the two species that are fused together, so it can either be hit or miss.
As for me, I think the idea is an interesting one, and it really does showcase a lot of really cool artistic ability, especially from the Infinite Fusion Generator. However, there are a lot that just do not work, and I may just show some of them on screen. I'm more specifically referring to the ones that are just AI done, because, you know, AI's got to ruin everything. They also asked, have you watched Unicorn Warriors Eternal?
Nope.
I have not, but I'll add that to the list, because it sounds interesting. Meta527 asks, to David, what are your favorite Blue Line students in Three Houses? Have not played Three Houses, but I guess going off of the top, I guess maybe the leader of it? Again, haven't really played much of Three Houses. Atreas licok, sorry if I mispronounced that, asks, David, did you see the trailer for the live-action One Piece movie? Yeah, it looks alright. Not a big fan of Brooklyn Luffy, but I mean, looks fine. Susan, have you watched Garfield and Friends when you were little?
I can't say I have. I did grow up watching at least one of the Garfield movies a lot, and I used to play this one Garfield game on my computer, but I can't say I really watched the series. I've heard of Garfield, but I never really watched the series.
Who is your favorite and least favorite female character in movies?
That's again another hard one considering I have not really watched a lot of movies recently, so I can't really give a definitive answer off the top of my head for this one. Sorry.
To both. What do you two think of the Primos controversy?
I prefer not to get involved with this because I don't have any opinion on it, so.
Fair enough. For me, it's a case of, why would you make a show about representation if you're not going to do it accurately? Like, bruh, seriously? I thought, like, we don't need a 2020 equivalent of blackface, guys. Fucking Christ. And do you plan to watch Nomura?
Not really sure, to be honest, for this one. I mean, it's like I said, it's been a long time since we really sat down and watched a movie, so if it's on Netflix, I can't watch it because I don't have Netflix anymore.
For me, it's a case of I haven't seen it, but I'll add it to the list. OmegaSurferFanboy asks, to Susan, what is your favorite / least favorite sport?
Well, I don't play sports, but personally, in terms of watching sports, my favorite sports to watch is either swimming events at the Olympics or baseball during the Little League World Series. I'll occasionally sit and glance at football, but that's just because my parents are big football fans and occasionally plays on the TVs. As for least favorite sport, probably golf, I guess.
Which Pokemon game do you always go back to play?
That depends really on how I'm feeling. I have a good amount of games, and I have a lot of the older consoles as well. It just really depends on how I'm feeling. Like, I could go back to Pokemon Sword and Shield and go looking around the raid dens. Same with Scarlet and Violet. I know I'm gonna probably play Scarlet and Violet a little more when the DLC comes out. And I'm currently doing a Pokemon XD walkthrough on Twitch whenever I get back to that, so.
And question 3, are QuickTime events in games awful?
It can be depending on the situation, especially if you're not prepared for it.
Master Wolf Gan Jik asks, to David, do you have any plans to play Life of P? I've heard interesting things about it, and I've joked occasionally that the title is just Life of Piss. However, it does look promising from what I've seen, but not at the moment. To Susan, are there any female characters that you hate in popular anime?
What's the character in Fruits Basket? The one that always abused the other animal spirits?
Akito Soma?
Yeah, that one.
And to both, what do you guys think of DLCs?
It depends on what they're offering, to be honest. If they're offering either more things to do, I approve of that, but if it's just added cosmetics or added music, waste of money.
For me, it's a case-by-case basis. I think conceptually it's not a terrible idea as long as you're not taking it out to effectively just resell it later, which is unfortunately a common thing I've seen. For Pokemon instance, I don't think that charging the equivalent of a 3DS game for the 2 DLCs is a good idea because it's probably not going to offer as much content that's worth it. That's why I'm more cautious about it. but I think it can work to expand the experience if done well. NicoCipher1 asks, to David, have you played the Forbidden Siren games that were made by Team Silent, and have you listened to any Green Day songs? I have not played the Forbidden Siren games, but I will take a look at that in the future. And as for Green Day, I used to listen to Green Day back in the day, but it wasn't my all-time favorite band back then. I only really know them so much for American Idiot and Boulevard of Broken Dreams. And even then nowadays, it's more so because of Boulevard of Broken Songs, the mashup. But I have listened to it. To Susan, favorite Pokemon music from the 8-bit era?
I can't really say anything that was any memorable tracks from the first two gen games because I didn't grow up with Red and Blue and I didn't get Gold until like much later in my childhood, so I can't really say that one, to be honest.
To both, how did you two meet and when?
You can go ahead and share the story.
Okay. We initially met in the Total Pokemon community where we became friends, and then after that, and this would be around 2009, 2010 roughly. And about 2011, we things just kind of fell into place after that, with me basically confessing my feelings for her around 2011, and things have been just since then we've been a thing.
Yep, pretty much. We stuck together for almost 12 years now. Now, if only we could meet in person finally.
Yes. Next year.
Hopefully.
So, apologies if I mispronounce this. Killjin It4YF asks, to both, which games that have co-op do you two go back to play?
I guess Stardew Valley?
Yeah, it's probably Stardew.
Yeah. It's been a while since we played it, though.
They are coming out with a new update, so... Are there any songs that both of you hate/love?
Well, I don't really... In terms of, music genre, I'm not really the biggest fan of, rap or heavy metal. But me personally, the music I love, I've been getting into, I follow this VTuber group called Hollow Stars, and they produce their own songs, and they even do covers, and I've lately been becoming a fan of their original music. I like anything that's, pop or rock music, I'd say.
For me, it's kind of an opposite in a sense. I'm not the biggest fan of pop, but I'm a fan of rock and metal music. I know that there's one song that resonates with both of us, and it's by Bruno Mars, Just the Way You Are. That's
Yep.
really good stuff. Question 3. Do you guys think that marriage is a pointless and stupid thing that does more harm than good? That is a question.
It was a little awkward considering both of us are not exactly, not even engaged. But it... It really depends on if the person is willing to commit, honestly. Because marriage definitely does, cement to that you really wanting to be with this person. I'd say... I guess I'd say, yeah, it's just more of a commitment thing if you really want to commit to it, I'd say.
Yeah, for me, it's a case-by-case basis. I don't necessarily think it's pointless and stupid. I just think that there are some that maybe didn't think that their relationship was strong enough to be a strong marriage and the like. I've also heard the meme of, oh, well, if you get married, you lose half your stuff. Literally, a prenup exists. It's just based on trust and cooperation between both parties, because, a relationship is a two-party street. I don't necessarily think it's a pointless and stupid thing. And what do you guys think of Vosh?
Not really interested, so I've never watched them, so I have no opinion.
They exist. Dan Alek asks, when they weren't running. To David, what is the worst trait to have for an OC? Bad god modding, basically. Where your character is woefully unbalanced. To Susan, what type of Pokemon do you use?
Whenever I go through my teams, I usually try to go for... I always usually have my starter with me, and I always try to get at least a few of my favorite Pokemon, as well as any other regional Pokemon, depending on what game I play. It just really depends on the region I play, but I almost always have my starter as my main Pokemon.
And to both, if you both went on a Pokemon journey with one partner only, what would it be?
Probably either an Alolan Vulpix or a Lucario. Or a Delcatty. Shiny, of course.
I would say Iron Valiant. And the final set of comments come from WiccaWitch236, but because of the way this is formatted and they didn't specify to one or both, I'll handle a good majority of the questions, but if there's any that Susan wants to chime in on, she absolutely can. Question 1, do you think the horror genre in gaming is dying and no longer scary? Not really. Who is your favorite and least favorite character from My Hero? Favorite, Mirako. Least favorite is Dabi.
My favorite is Todoroki, and my least favorite is Mineta.
Primus controversy, we already talked about. Have you heard of Smash Bandicoot? Yep, fuck them.
Isn't Smash Bandicoot a game?
Smash Bandicoot is. Smash Bandicoot is a YouTuber. Do you have an opinion on the YouTuber Techno? They're fine. What's your opinion on the SpongeBob episode Good Neighbors? Alright.
No opinion.
What are your thoughts on The Last of Us Part 2? Shrug. And would you like some chocolate, as long as it's not poisoned or laxative? No, I don't take candy from strangers.
I'm Buster the Clown, now we ain't strangers. Let's smash your face!
And that'll do it for every question, it seems. So thank you all very much for asking questions, really do appreciate it. And thank you as well, sweetie, for joining me on this installment. You want to plug your socials?
Yeah, so if you guys are interested, please do check out my YouTube channel. I basically not only post my VODs from when I go live on Twitch, but I also am a Hollow Stars clipper as well in my free time. Please check out my clips and check out the Hollow Stars boys. You can also follow me on Twitter at SusanDalcatty. It's where I occasionally also post my schedule. Well, not really a schedule, but when I go live, as well as I like to retweet other things. If you like cute, just be aware if you follow me, you might see a lot of Hollow Stars pictures from me as well. And you can also follow me on Twitch at Susan Sakura Snowfox. That is where I usually will stream my games. I would love to see you guys there sometime.
Alright, and if you have a question for the next episode of Ask a Grimm, keep in mind it'll be a solo episode this next one. Feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I will see you next month for another installment of Ask a Grimm. Till then, thank you for watching.